Hello, everybody, and welcome to the DWO Podcast number 4. Yeah, 4, I think it is. Look at me, I've only done fucking 3, and I've already fucking forgot what number we're on. Anyway, DWO 4. If it's wrong, whatever, blow me. Anyway, today we're going to talk about a bit more about the guild sort of side of things. We're going to talk about some of our history, some of the things we've played, some of the things we've done, some funny old stories, and we got quite a quiet crowd tonight. A lot of people away this weekend, which is a shame, but that's the way it goes. We got Doric hanging out in chat, the big serial killer that he is. He's going on about some characters' red, black panties. I don't know what color they are. Whatever, it doesn't matter. His favorite activity is, of course, moving that camera around and just looking up and hoping he can see some panties. Hey, somebody, he says black clearly. Whatever floats your boat. Next we've got Dr. Louise, whose mic just died, as we said, as we just started. Probably because she's been saying no all night. You don't want to know why. Lulu is playing WoW these days a little bit, just playing it a bit casually. Next we've got Drake. Drake is back. He's in a bad mood because what happened to you tonight at this dinner?
Some fat fucking bitches wouldn't shut the fuck up.
So, what did you do about that?
Well, I couldn't really do much, could
Yeah, you could.
Well, you see, a restaurant is like an open forum. It's they paid to, eat there. They can be as loud as they want.
They didn't pay to come and disrupt the customers, did they?
Well, it is a pub.
Dory says just grab and trash them through the floor. Well, how old were they?
Oh, it looked like a work do or something. So there was there was a hot 20-year-old chick, and then the rest of them were like 30, 40. One of them brought the husband along. He looked depressed and was drowning his sorrows in his drink. Sat in the corner, not saying anything.
You know, I get invited to those fucking things like Christmas parties and shit, and I'm just like, fuck off. I'm not going like, hey, I'll talk to you and shit at work, but the moment work is finished, you're dead to me. They know I'm like that. One of my workers is doing like some fucking bike ride, and now I see like he's put out his sponsor sheet for us to come along and sponsor it. I see like everybody's put like a minimum of 10 quid. Now, it doesn't matter how much money I have or how well I'm doing. As far as I'm concerned, I don't want to fork out 10 quid for nothing. But oh well, what can you do? Anyway, we don't want to talk about work life, that's boring. Next is Yog. Yog is from Kenya at the moment, and what's the matter, Yog? You alright?
Of course,
Why wouldn't you be, huh? Falling asleep on the job. His usual patterns this week has been getting up and doing his school shit. No. He's been doing his school shit, going to bed when he gets home, and then waking up like mid-evening, like midnight or whatever, and playing then. It's typical Yog. And of course me, Hidden the Leader. You should already know my voice by now. So that's the people on vent. We're going to go through and talk a little bit about our history, some of the things that we've done, some of the funny moments, and hopefully look back on some of those good moments. We won't go too far in depth. We'll just chill back and talk. So anyway, before I do so, I'm just going to do my usual shout outs. So yeah, this is the podcast of the Dragoon Brotherhood. We're a guild that are currently focusing on Age of Wulin and a little bit on Elder Scrolls Online as well. That's definitely in our eye lines, and in the very long term with the World of Darkness, which is very far away. Basically, what our guild is about friendship and community and brotherhood. Unlike most guilds, we care about you. We care about what you can bring to our community, and we care about what we can do for you. Now, that doesn't mean that we do everything for you and we expect you to provide materials. It means that we just provide a home, a community that you can come and hang out in and be respected for who you are. Now, we have 3 aims. Our first aim is naturally to maintain this strong attitude, a strong community. And when I talk about community, I don't say that we're like the other sort of like friendly guilds. We're a bunch of dicks, basically, but at least we have a good time and we can show respect for each other. And hey, you can only show so much respect before you got to take it out on some outsiders, right? Second aim is we aim to be the best PvP guild that we can be, and throughout the years we've managed to do this. We've travelled many MMOs. I'll tell you some stories in a minute, and we've had some good fucking moments. We're missing some key storytellers today, so that's a shame. But we'll do these podcasts again, so we'll get a broad picture over the weeks that we do these podcasts. What we tend to do is in PvP we aim for the top, but we aim to do it by working together. The reason why we are successful is because people have played with each other for years. They've gotten to know each other to the point where we just know how we all play. And we can go into games and we can be strong. Yeah, we got to learn. Yeah, we got to practice. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that we're walking badasses. We got to work at it. And when we work hard, when we play hard, we generally achieve what we aim to do. And the third aim is we enjoy all forms of content. So if you love PvP, PvE, crafting, running around naked, whatever floats your boat, there'll be something for you. So that's basically us in a nutshell. If you like this podcast, if you like what we're about, you can get in contact with us, put up an application, you can ask some questions either via PM on the forums or in the comments of our thread, or you can even attend one of our guild events, our guild recruitment events. We do them every now and again on Wednesdays. If you're interested in getting involved in that, just let me know. We'll get you in, we'll get you playing. Doesn't matter how many of you come. If you want to hang out, get to know what we're about, that's the place to do it. So anyway, let's skip that bullshit. It's not really bullshit, but you know what I mean. Let's talk old school Dragoons. So for those of you who don't know, we were formed in a game called The Matrix Online. And I just want to get a quick check, because most of you are people who, apart from obviously Dorek, most of you are people who've been in for just about a year, just under. How long have you guys been playing MMOs for? We'll start with you, Drake.
6 years.
Well, what's your history up to this point?
WoW was my first one, but that was when I was so young that I didn't really know what I was doing. I think it was just WoW for years, and then I played countless random free online MMOs that I just played for like a few days, a few weeks, and then eventually got bored. Like, I don't even remember half of. But basically, WoW has been on and off for forever, and then Guild Wars, I guess. WoW, countless free ones, and then Guild Wars is all the really notable ones.
Did you play like free ones because you were skint, mate? Yeah, I thought so. What about you, Yog? I mean, you get MMOs in Kenya, right? So what sort of games did you play? 'Cause you're the youngest one of the guild.
I played the MMO for about 5 years. Yeah, 5. No, actually 6 years. I think. Yeah, around that.
Fucking hell.
I remember, like in my class, some people bring me first to RuneScape. I had no fucking idea how to do that game, but I played it several months. And then again by the same friend, I got introduced to WoW, and then I played that for a couple of years. We went off and in because I was very young back then, but and then it became Tor after that, and then Guild Wars 2, and then several other MMOs after that. But
Go on, sorry.
I was just saying, yeah, it was pretty much.
Because we met you, we recruited you just before, well, not just before Guild Wars 2, about 3 or 4 months before Guild Wars 2, if I remember. And so you played Tor. What class did you play?
I played Sith Inquisitor.
Oh, fucking gay. Why am I not surprised? You want to talk about re-rolling? I was re-rolling a lot in that game. Well, I re-rolled after I hit 50, but I kept playing my 50. What about you, Doric and Lulu? Oh, Lulu said I played WoW when I was 11 to 13, I think it was, and then I took a pause and then had a look at Guild Wars 2 and got His guild? You in some fucking outsider guild, Lee? This, yeah, that's what I thought. 20 years, Dorek. There's not been MMOs for 20 years. Educate me. Were you playing like fucking muds, like writing little text to people? What was your first MMO then? Yeah, muds. You used to play them? No, so which MMO did you play 20 years ago then?
Battletoads.
10 minutes, 10 minutes? 10 years ago was 2003-993. Some DX6 bullshit. I think it's a bit worse than that, mate. Come on. So what was the first proper MMO that you got into? The first MMO that you devoted a lot of time to, Dorek? Because there's been, when I think of you, I think of two major MMOs from your history. Biosphere. I've never heard of that. What is that? You obviously predate me pretty hardcore. What was it about? Dorek is talking in the chat, so I'll just read out what he says. Oh, he says it was a sandbox game. If any of you out there who are listening have played Biosphere, let us know what you thought about it. Wasn't really anything else but grinding in it. Because you got hardcore into Eve, didn't you? How many years did you play Eve? There's a lot of pauses, so I'll try and keep talking as much as possible. Don't know. You know, you're always such a clear-cut guy, Dorek. He just lives in like a TARDIS somewhere or something. Did I just make a Doctor Who reference, Drake?
Fucking Ben.
I'm the bender. You're the one sitting there getting scared over a couple of fucking dustbins floating around, shouting exterminate.
Oh, whatever. I don't watch fucking wrestling.
Nothing wrong with wrestling. Real men watch wrestling.
real red.
I'm just telling you, if you want to join this guild and you like wrestling, I'll promote you. Fuck it. Officer straight away. I'm joking, of course. Unlike most guilds, you know, it takes more than just a blowjob to get to the top of this ladder. Dork says I'll kick him. No, you won't, Dork. You do as you're fucking told, innit? I'm joking, Dork. Anyway, so that's a little bit of our history. I started 6.5 years ago, nearly 7 now. I started with this guild, and the way this guild was founded, I was running around absolutely fucking clueless, and I met this dude named Wicked Dragoon. Now, I've always been the Hidden 01. It's a name that stuck by me. Everybody knows the Hidden 01. I don't know if I like it or not. I keep wanting to change it, but I've never found anything to replace it with, because it's kind of stupid, but it's just been my name. And I met this guy, Wicked Dragoon, and I don't know much about his history before that point, but I know he was level 12 or level 10, and I was level 8. And he said that many of the bigger guilds were elitist, and I'd heard this at the time, and he said they only want people to use people. They don't really care about the people in their guild. They just care about numbers. And we decided to form this guild in the hope that you know, we can not be like that. And obviously today I'm still a leader all the way since then, and we've been kicking butt and taking names ever since then. We didn't really evolve our hardcore edge until maybe a year later. I don't mean in terms of hardcore like we're up 21 hours a day playing and shit like that. We just decided that we weren't going to take shit anymore, and we became quite a powerful force. We dominated the server. I mean, Matrix for us really came down to two things. We were big duelers. We ran the biggest dueling event across every single server, and we did exceptionally well in that. We were very strong PvP orientated. We were actively, constantly looking for decent people. We were a lot more open back then, but then again, I think it was easier to recruit. When I think of MMOs today and the quality of recruits that we get, I think more often than not back then when I recruited people, more people hadn't been in the guild before. So to come on to come into a guild and just be naturally socializing was actually more frequent. It was more natural. And I know that sounds odd. You would think that somebody new to an MMO would find it weird being on a new event, but actually it wasn't like that, because people would come into a game and they get the social aspect, and because they only know the way of being the way they are in real life, I guess. It's just my theory. They would quickly cotton on, and I had far less problems with sort of like new recruits than I do today. I mean, I would say our retention rate today is probably the best we've ever had it in our entire history by a long way. But that's not to say that we've had shit up until this point. It's just, but the level of recruits, I think most recruits, and this is something that if you're listening and considering this guild, I think the type of recruits that we get nowadays, they just don't understand what kind of guild we're like. And we try our best to communicate. I'm not gonna sit here and blame everything on the recruits of today, because that's what fucking weaklings do. A guild's gotta adapt. But we do find more often than not that we have to really introduce what we're about. We've got to introduce that we're not just a guild that you come in and join for the perks, don't really talk to people, and then leave if it gets boring. We're not a guild with a core group of players and then 200 other people running around. We're a guild that's heavily involved in hanging out with each other, playing with each other, and having a good time. That doesn't mean that you can't do your own thing. That doesn't mean that it's not a case where you can't be laid back because you've always got to be with somebody. It just means that we have a really good and great chemistry between each other, really. I mean, you'll hear a lot of jokes, and sometimes you might think it's belittling, but I assure you it's all come out of good, strong friendship and a lot of bum sex, but that's the way it goes. Isn't that right, Drake? You're becoming a master political man in this guild, aren't you? You know all the right cocks to suck, especially mine in True Blood, huh? Yeah.
Only you
When
make
you
it
say
all
it that
good.
fast, it's just going to be cut out of the podcast. All people are going to hear is like, pfft. He keeps calling me baby, so if you hear a cut out, he's calling me baby.
I called him a big cocksucking fag.
Anyway, so that was our beginning history, and since then we've gone up and down like other guilds have. But we always try to innovate. I think if there's something I like to do, it's to innovate constantly. And in MXO, I was dueling, and I wanted a proper tournament. Everybody said they're the best. I wanted people to prove they're the best. So we did that. Next thing you know, I'm doing whole leagues, whole seasons, and shit like that. We wanted money. Now, when we wanted money, welcome back, man. When we wanted money, we didn't just run around and do grinding and shit. We started up our own casino, made a fat ton of cash off of that in game money, of course. And these are just the things that we do. Roll on to today, it's the same sort of thing. We want to get recruits involved. We want recruits to understand what we're about. We're not just going to sit here and say, yo, motherfucker, this is us, join. We're going to create these events to get you with us. We're going to find new ways and even newer ways to get you in. As well as that, I mean, the Dragoon World Order, when it comes to Age of Wulin, we are really trying to create something that I hope is the best thing we've ever done, and really go out there and create a strong network of guilds and at the same time create a real good attitude when it comes to dealing with people and having a good PvP. And by attitude, I don't mean running around and being the moral saviors of the server against the bad gankers. I mean like having a good time, relaxed, getting plenty of kills, putting people in their places if they need to be, and not taking it too seriously like these fucking idiots that die on a PvP server do. You know what I mean? What do you... Coming into this guild, Drake, I mean, what did you think is different about this guild? Because I've never been in another guild. What do you think is different?
Well, I haven't been in another guild either. But
How the fuck
in
not?
comparison...
You've been playing well.
Yeah, but I only ever played it with my friends. I didn't play it with, like, anyone else. But in comparison to, most guilds that I see, it's not just like, you go on WoW and that's when you talk to them. You talk to everyone all the time, not just when it concerns the game.
You've never been in another guild either, Lou? Jesus, I never knew this. A dime a dozen. See, Creed, he obviously was in some high-end guilds and high-end PvP guilds before he joined. He was one of the elite PvPers, so I know Swimming was in a guild because I nabbed him. Because I saw him and knew he'd be the best, my savior. 6 years later, I was right. So yeah, I know Dorak was in some real top raiding guilds before he accidentally killed the officer. You know how it goes. What about you, Yogs? What's the difference?
I was in 2 guilds before I joined this, and really the second one was. But the thing with this one I can at least discuss about. The thing was at the beginning, it was people that cared about each other. It was a friendship guild. It was people that they knew each other. It wasn't like, oh, you're just Billy character number 3, but you actually were a person. But then eventually just developed and became, the guild master started to just focus on numbers, didn't fucking care anymore, and just wanted to become a high-end raid guild. But, because I was in PvE at the beginning, so that fucked off. So I remember just looking at as Guild Wars 2 was my interest back then, I was looking at these threads and seeing all these guilds, and they all felt the same. I was always skeptic about them because I always felt they really didn't develop. Well, they didn't really show the feeling of, wow, this is a guild that actually cares about each other. I didn't have had any factor of that. But then when I actually read the Dragoons one, the Dragoon Brotherhood, I actually could see, like, Jesus, here is a community that actually cares about each other and actually give a crap about every person. It's not about numbers, it's not about that, it's about you, it's about the community. So really that's what stands out about this guild, just the community.
Well, I mean, of course, there's been other things that define us, and PvP-wise, is where we've made our bones, really. I think I said I was going to do a PvP podcast, but we turned quite ranty. That's my fault. We've been ranting all night, I think. We just come off watching a movie together. I forced them to watch Casino. It's a pretty good movie. Not forced, obviously. So we're quite unique PvPers. We have a policy here which is no running away. No running away whatsoever. Let me tell you where that came from, because most of you can't see our PvP code. So let me explain it in full then. Basically, we have a policy here that we do not like you to run away. 99% of gamers do. We know this, we understand this. Nearly everybody that joins this guild probably ran away before they joined. Now, what the fuck? Why wouldn't you run away? Well, first of all, we don't believe our pixels really are anything to fear. So if we're going to die in the game, we're going to die. So what? Second of all, we have found in our experience that if you're running away when we're fighting as a group, you're just fucking the whole team up. You run away and you're just making it 5 on 4, 5 on 3, whatever. Not only that, you have to factor into the consideration of that people will say to me then, well, if I run away and heal, that's a lot better than when I die. Well, no, if you're constantly fighting to the last breath, I think that's a lot better than running away and hoping you can get back in time. It's just, we've always had a problem with it. Not only that, it doesn't just go in a group sense, it goes in the sense of honor. And we believe the Sun Tzu way of things. We believe in Sun Tzu talked about the death ground. Look at me trying to translate this at 12 a.m. on a Saturday night. This is going well. And basically, he said that if you surround an army completely, then that army will be desperate and fight harder. And there have been examples in history where this army managed to push them back. What I'm saying, if you put yourself in a mental position where you know you can't run away, you have to fight, you have to push to the end, you'll learn so much more. Now, I know some of you are probably shaking your heads to listen to this. I'm not saying this as some guy who is like claiming to be a good PvPer. Like we get these people who join this guild and then gets whooped by about 3-0. The moment you join this guild, we'll get right in front of you and prove what we can do. I'm not saying this is a guy who says I've PvP'd for 10 years and then fucking is holding that S key during PvP and doesn't even know what key bindings are. I'm talking as a guy who's done it all and been there and been at the top echelon of every PvP he's touched. Now, I'm not being arrogant here or a dick. I'm just saying that this is the best possible way. It's all in the mind. And I think the moral side of it, the sort of the honor side of things came in MXO. At this time, there was an ability called hyper jump, and basically you can just jump away super fast and get completely out of combat. And it was so pathetic. People would get into a quick fight. Oh god, I'm gonna die! Jump out of combat, hyper jump away, straight away. And it was awful. And it wasn't just the bad players doing it. It was skilled players too. And at this time, I was PvPing with a guy named Ipelis, who was guild leader of IP Conflict, which was the biggest guild on our server at the time. And I wasn't PvPing for him. I was just watching with him because I got on quite well to him. You know, we're similar temperament. We both talk shit like fucking dogs, and naturally we earned some mutual hatred and respect. I don't know, between each other. We were talking trash constantly. And he pointed out, he said, look at all these people running away. We can't have a good fight. And there were enough people to fight these people, but they would just run away. And of course, they go on the forums and cry how IP Conflict are ruining the game because they're zerging everything. IP Conflict are just assholes. But in the examples he was showing me, there were like 20 people and there were like 10 of them. And these 20 people would just run away and they'd just win every single time. And I said to him, man, my guild ain't like that. And we were shit at the time. We were still growing. I said, you know, we'll be a challenge for you. Alas, he finally got fed up with it. So did his guild. They moved on to another game, and we became League Kings after that. But and we never relinquished that until we decided it was enough. But you know, it really was. It is a big thing for us. It always has been. It's not a problem with most new recruits. Sometimes we've got to be clear. I mean, we obviously know that if you're a healer, you can't just stand there and get hit. You've got to kite and things like that, so that's fine. We understand that in a game of capture the flag, you're not there to fight in the middle. So if you get caught in the middle, we don't expect you to stand there. We expect you to go to flag. If you're doing something that benefits the group, if you're just CCing and going off straight to the flag, that's completely fine. You know, we understand that if it's of strategic importance, but if it's just flat out, run away into the corner and heal yourself, get the fuck out of here. You ain't gonna last here. You know, and that's the sort of mentality. And we were doing it before 300 came out, but 300 was like our movie, because in that movie, it made what we do look cool. Come home either with your shield or upon it. The reason why they say that is because cowards throw their shields away. If you come home without your shield, you're as good as dead. And that's the mentality that we take. But it doesn't just stop there. We have a very aggressive, very gaming sort of style when it comes to PvP. We like to have some fun. We like to do some world tours where we just randomly pick a zone and then go and completely clear it. And by random, I mean random.org style. You know, we have a zone for an hour, move on to another zone. We'll have campaigns. We'll have duel challenges against outsiders. We'll do things like the DWO, which is a big plan. We got a lot planned for that. We'll do all sorts of different things like this, and this is really the kind of guild that we are. And we try and keep it as fun as possible internally as we can do. And that really sums up our PvP. Has anybody got anything they want to add to that? Like, I think I summed up quite a lot.
Yeah, I don't think I can add anything of it.
Yeah. We're missing swimming really, because he was here for the foundations of that mentality. He really came in, and I have known that at times that, you know, particularly in MXO, I haven't heard this in years, but I know one or two did say to me that if it wasn't for this guild, they would run away. But you know, quite often I think if you're sitting there and you just don't agree, that's fine. You still get owned by us anyway, so have fun. But when I think about it really, it's just a case that most people just fucking when they do PvP with us and we point it out, I think they realise just how pathetic the running is. I mean, we've won so many battles. I mean, even I remember us going into Kashata and Age of Conan, coming in with just 4 of us. There was 12 on us, and we won the fight because they ran away. It's just stupid. But that's our mentality. We have other rules, things like we have some pretty free vocally people are swearing and shit, but we don't tolerate you exploding. That's weak. We don't tolerate people who think they're God's gift to the planet. I mean, I'll sit here and say, yeah, I'm that good, but then I'll get down there and try and make everybody better than me. That's my training ethic. You're not a good teacher if you don't make them better than you. That's how I believe and feel. And it benefits me anyway to teach people, because then they can teach me. And that's the policy of the Dragoons through and through. So we've been here. We got an interesting selection of people. But do you guys have any memorable PvP moments? Those of you who start typing. What about you, York? Any memorable PvP moments?
Well, obviously one was in Terror, pretty much when we were doing some fun Havoc. People were, saying, "Oh my god, Dragoon Contour is here." And I just so much love how people just hated us after, I don't know, it was just few weeks being in Terra, just killing people, and even if they were high level, we just kept attacking them. I mean, that was just so much fun, I must say. Especially how many of them raised when we attacked their lower levels and said, "Oh my god, it's not fair." I mean, I just love the crime we made people do.
I will admit, we do have a pretty fucked up mentality. I mean, I remember at the time in Age of Conan, there was a guild called Scum, and they were the big kings of the server at the time. And we were killing a couple of their members and camping them on the res pad. Now, they were known as real big gankers. I don't give a shit. I'll camp you whether you're a good guy or a bad guy. If there's a bunch of gankers, they sometimes think that when we camp them, it's because we're against the gankers, but it's not that. We kill everybody we meet. And, of course, there's only a few of us doing it at the time, and boom comes a massive Scum train. And, I mean, we got some more people there, but we didn't have enough to combat that, and we were camped, and the whole time we were taunting them. We were charging out that res pad, attacking. We weren't standing there like a bunch of fucking cowards. We were charging out, and I was whispering the guild leader, just egging him on, pissing him off, saying things like, "How's it feel to know that your members run and call backup straight away while we're stood here fighting non-stop? How's it feel to know that your men won't do this for you?" And of course, finally they gave up. After an hour of just constantly spawn camping us, they gave up. Now, most guilds and most members in that situation, they may have been doing it to prove a point, but they'd probably be like, "Phew, thank God for that. They're gone, I was alright doing it, but deep down I'm happy they did." But did we just accept that? Oh, fuck no. I immediately said in Global, "The Dragoon Brotherhood has done what all of you thought was impossible. You can now thank us, for we have defeated the Scum enemy." Boom, bang, wallop, another hour of spawn camp. Did it again after that hour, they went away, we claimed victory. That really sums up the Dragoons. And in Terror, we were just leveling up and just killing everything. I mean, it would have been a field of blood if we really could show it, and it just was fucking horrendous how much killing we got through. I've never killed shit like that in my life. And the amount of hatred and the amount of ploys we did, like we get people to join our group to hunt down this killer named Dorek, and then we'd say we found Dorek, and he'd come to us, and then we'd all turn on the guy with Dorek and kill him. The amount of just bullshit we did. And of course the 60s would come plowing down and save the Lobies' asses, even though we were at the same level, and they would be ganking us. We'd be charging out. It was almost like a sea of reds, and most people thought that we were ganking Lobby. They didn't realise that we were the people who were ganking, just the same people as us, and they would think like some gankers had been doing it. And of course, me being me, I'd egg them on, saying how we're fighting against the evil gankers, and people wouldn't really get it. They think some kind of event was going on. It was just hilarious. Storek says, "Warhammer was good. Dragoons turned the battles into victories. We're just pushing through the Scum." great team game. We were really solid in that game. We've had moments where we were defending the keep, managed to completely push them back. Just us fighting non-stop for hours, holding that keep door, pushing them back to take the opposite keep. Great game. Really nice positioning in it. Not the best combat system in the world, but at the time it was really nice. Lulu says in Terra, when high-level people that came and spawn camped us and they didn't even know what we had done exactly. People came and they just didn't know what was going on. It became like there were at times 40 to 60 people. Well, maybe not that much, but like 40 people odd at times almost that just stood around fucking killing us as we charged out. It was great just for a few of us even. And I would log into the game. I'd have 60s follow me and I'd say, "Why are you following me?" And it'd be like, "I kill you, ganker scum." Well, we get a lot of fanboys and girls though. A lot of people would turn around and say, "Hey, your guild is so hilarious. Can I join?" So we just make a bit of fun of it. You know, we always get fans. Any memories for you, Drake?
Well, Terror as well. And like, WoW was like surprising when me and Doric went on it for the first time in ages, and we was just like thousands of corpses everywhere. It was like ridiculous how many corpses there were. We didn't do much PvP in WoW because we were in it for such a short time. But as soon as me and Doric went in, fucking 2 minutes, and Doric's like, "Who's this dickhead looking at me?" Fucking attacks for level 9. And then we get camped for like an hour after.
That sums up the Dragoons really. It's like we'll go around at level 80 and we'll kill those level 2s. I'm not afraid to say it, it's just the way we are. But when we see those level 90s, we'll go up and run up to them and start attacking them. And that really sums us up. So, you know, people can say all they want about our past transgressions, but we think the gankers who gank and then run away or just give up are fucking pathetic. You know, for us, we take great pleasure in getting as many people as we can to attack us. You know, if we're starting a level 20 event, we'll say, "Oh my god, a bunch of gankers are attacking the zone in the Dragoon Brotherhood, get down here," and these sixes come fucking plowing down. Maybe we're just nuts, I don't know, but of course things change when we hit top level. Then people start running away, because they can't fight when we're equal level. See? And that's the way the cookie crumbles, isn't it? I'll tell you one story, and we've been doing this podcast quite a while. At the time, we were in Age of Conan, and we moved to an RP server. There's been 2 stories here I'm going to tell, and we were getting noted for being a big gank guild, you know, and people were like saying we weren't there to roleplay. And I'll be like, "We are. You're not giving us a chance. You've heard about us, and you're just saying we ganking people. We got an RP," and they'd be like, "Saying you were a crook. It's not RP." But you know, I spun the community bit. I love playing them. You know, saying things like I made elaborate, logical posts like I do on the Woolin forums now. I'm not playing you Woolin folks yet. I ain't got nothing to play with. What I'm gonna play with the like feature. Yeah, right. Anyway. We're playing around with the community saying we're honourable people, you know, you don't give us a chance, we're trying to create a RP community, and yeah, we're a bit bad, but we're actually trying to form a good story behind it that you can get involved in. Now at the time, every Tuesday night, or whatever night, I don't know what it was, they would have an RP gathering at an inn. And all these guilds would come, and tensions were high because it was supposed to be a non-attack zone, you know? It wasn't a safe zone, but it was a PvP zone, but people would come up, and the guilds that would normally fight each other would be uneasily stood around, you know, hanging out. Quite a lot of people turned up. It was really cool, and I don't know who run that event, but you know, kudos to them. It was a good event. And I don't know what it was, but so many people. It's like so many nice people to kill, you know. There was these little lobies as well. And I just couldn't resist it. And I kind of accidentally killed one in the middle of about 40 people. And then you know, I knew I was dead. I didn't realize I would live. I didn't realize a form of art would just wave over the scene as one guild started attacking another guild, and another guild started attacking another guild. Guilds were accusing each other of attacking. I was like, I didn't attack. They started accusing us. I was like, what the hell? Here we go again with this Dragoon hate. I was like, we were defending, I don't know what they were called. There was some fucking Turkish guild, Kebab, whatever. Kebab, you know, we were saying we were defending Kebab when he attacked. And Kebab were like, yeah, we saw it. Like fucking dumbass Turks or some shit. And the Turks were like attacking the Russians were attacking so and so. RPs were crying. Oh, it's just great. We were dunking motherfuckers in the river as they ran out into the road to escape. Good times, man. Good times. And the second time was they were going to host a run event. They were going to run down the hill, down past the waterfall, and they were going to get to the finish line. I don't even know what's wrong with these people, but whatever. They started the run race, and we'd accidentally got into stealth on the bridge, and as they came down, about 30 of them, we all popped out stealth, knocked back, and then went flying off the edge. And this was at the top of a waterfall, so some of them, I don't think you died from that height, but you got dunked, you got kicked out of the race, you know, and people kept asking before the event on the forums in game, please do not disrupt, and all of this. And of course we got camped so hard by those angry role players, but it was fucking awesome. I mean, I actually prefer RP servers because I think most people are like adults, so at least they have a little bit of wit and you can wet your whistle in a good argument. But you know, there's nothing funnier than killing a role player. They take it like it's life and death, and the drama between the guilds, fuck me. It's just, you know, I remember recruiting a guy who was supposed to be a really good guy, but he fed up with his leader and he was angry. And I don't know what happened, but he joined our guild. I think he was in good position. Suddenly he became a badass in our guild. He was like, yeah, let's go gank people. And then at the end of the day, he left saying, yeah, I don't really like this ganking stuff. And he was screaming at us to go gank. It's just, I love RPers, I really do. Any of you guys you guys are unlucky. You missed the RP era. Doric, you've seen some RPers, but any of you guys had run-ins with role players or thoughts?
Nope, never really had any run-ins with roleplay.
I tell you what you get on RP servers though. Fucking stalkers of chicks. They hear there's a chick, fucking hell. It's like stalking all year. They'll be protective. They'll be running behind the girls. They'll be running away, leaving their wife to get killed or whatever. Ah, good times, good times. And that's just some of our memories, just some of the things we've gotten up to. You know, I think when I look back, Terror was probably the place where we were the worst. I think if you're listening to this, I know an old member from MXO days was listening to this. If you're an old Dragoon and you thought we were bad in MXO, you just can't compare to just the shit we got up to in Terror. It was pretty rough. Although it wasn't as personal, I suppose. In MXO, guilds did completely re-roll to fight us and despised us for years. I runned into this guy in WoW that was role-playing in a dungeon. It was sad, said Lulu. Oh. So, and I think our most fun probably came in games like Age of Conan and MXO, because the community took it so seriously. Doric is now complaining about skipping his line. Okay, Doric, I'll read your line. I think I told one of them to open their mouth because I had to take a dump. You happy now? Oh, Creed, the voice of reason, motherfucker. You're late for the podcast.
Jesus
We're just
Christ,
in the middle now.
Jesus Christ, you're like...
Mums, what? How you doing, man? Oh, well, we won't do that because we don't want to tell outsiders your life story. We don't give a shit. Well, I do. You know I do, Creed, huh? So tell us, Creed, what is your favourite moments in PvP?
Ooh. Favorite moments. Well, usually it's the good moments when you find a worthy opponent and have a lengthy battle.
Always a gay story with you, Creed. And
Fucking Ben.
At least it's not a twat story like with Drake.
Drake
Yeah, I
hasn't
had a
told any
good
good stories because he doesn't have good stories. Oh, he told
Oh,
one.
I
that's-
told the story about Dor fucking saying, look at that random 90 looking at me for.
Yeah, there's nothing better than a worthy opponent. I mean, a worthy opponent, I got to duel him for years until I can beat him. Then I'm bored of him. I'll tell this one last story. I remember we met this guy in this dungeon. It was a public dungeon, and he wanted to go do this dungeon with us. There were 5 dragoons in his team. You know, I don't know how it got about, but he asked one of our members if we could bring, fill up the rest of the slots and go with him. And we agreed, and I was there. So we're going through this dungeon, and he's constantly talking about getting his helmet. How he's tried for ages to get this helmet, and he really wants this helmet. He kept saying, "I want it, I want it, I want it." We're running with him, and we're like, well, we're here too. If the helmet drops, we're gonna roll for it too. And it got to the point where it's just so annoying. Like after every mob, he'd literally be saying, "I really hope it drops. I can't wait to wear it," and all this shit. So we're finally on the last boss, and he's saying the drop is so rare, and he keeps talking about it. And by this stage, my patience had run too thin. So I said to the guys, "Right, we'll wait till this fucking boss is low health. Then we're gonna..." And as you probably guessed, we kicked his ass, killed him, killed the boss, and beautifully, as the boss dropped, the helmet dropped too. He said he'd been trying for fucking months to get it, and there it was. And I picked that motherfucker up, I put it on my head, walked around his dead corpse, and he was shouting, "10 years of MMOs, and I've never seen anything so bad in my life." Oh, it's so great. Well, shouldn't have been a selfish dick, should he? If he hadn't been such a cock, we would have given it to him, but whatever. Well, I wouldn't. I would have rolled fairly for it. That's the thing. And then probably killed him anyway. Sure, Doric, you weren't even there for Age of Conan. You were busy sucking dick. I know we've got so many moments similar to that, like when we were in a town conquering, like we claimed a town in the PvP zone and calling people out, and this one guy was saying what dicks we were, and obviously he turned up and saw how we were just owning people left and right, and he probably realized that we were pretty good, and he was suddenly like best friends of ours. You know, the people like the fans who realize you are.
Yeah, the ass kissers.
So he was like, "Hey," he started sending me tells. He's like, "Hey, man, can I join you guys?" Like completely ignoring the fact that he'd been really going at us in chat like 15 minutes before. So I said, "Guys, I got an idea here." I said, "Yeah, sure, come on in." So he came on in. He was nervous at first, but I said, "Don't worry." Hung around with him for a few minutes, and he was like, "Yeah, you guys are awesome," and let him get comfortable. And steadily but surely, we were all in a circle around him, about 8 or 9 of us. And he stood in the middle, was like, "Guys, what's going on?" Boom! And you can guess what happened next. That's fucking Dragoon Stars. That's what it's all about. You think you're fucking better than us, and then see us and you think we're cool. We're not gonna let you be in our group. You gotta be kidding me. So that's just a couple of stories. It's been a boring podcast, like in the beginning. I hope it's not been too boring. Look at me just dissing it. I'm never satisfied with shit, am I? But some good stories there, and it gives you a look into what we're about. It's good stories, right? The scum don't know all our secrets. But talk about paranoid. Doric thinks the FBI are gonna come on in here and start arresting our asses. Doric, I won't tell him you're a paedophile. It's okay. So anyway, as I was saying, if you probably heard those stories, and most people would probably be turned off by that. If so, I'm so sorry. Whatever. But if you think that you'd like to be part of a guild that just likes to have a good time and doesn't take life too seriously, join up. Because we're we're not like most guilds. I mean, we're not the traditional gank guild who then, gets insulted when you dare say something bad. I never understood those players that sit there and troll everybody, and then the moment you troll them back, they like get all offended and emotional about it. I don't know. The same people who can't take it when it gets a little bit more serious and the guild needs to work together. Met some of them motherfuckers before. No, we keep it cool. We're sort of a mixture. We're a professional guild that knows how to look after its people. Well, no, we're not professionals. We don't get paid, but you know what I mean. But at the same time, we are a guild that doesn't run around making little social rules. The only social rules that exist are the rules of the server. If the server says we're criminals, then we're criminals. If the server doesn't say we're criminals, then sorry, Jack, you gotta learn to shut the fuck up and roll PvE. Anyway, this has been the podcast from the DWO. Hope you've enjoyed it. You got any questions about the guild? You got any questions about anything I've said? You want to join our events? Feel free to contact us. And finally, last but not least, if you are a prospective guy interested in going and ganking crims with us and being a part of the DWO, or you're even a member of another guild, talk to your guilds. Let's get an alliance going. Wulin is dead as shit on that forums, but there's no reason that we need to sit there and swing our dicks around calling each other fags. We can get out there and actually set some shit up. Take advantage of this time that we've got. Be a guy, be a dude. Be a winner. Don't be a loser crying all the time. That's the way it is. Thanks all for listening, and see you next week. Holiday next week. Bye bye.